New Year festivities in ancient Rome may look a little bit more familiar to us nowadays because of when it was celebrated. The early Roman calendar used to actually start in March, but then there were some more months added and it was adjusted a little bit in order to, properly make up for the actual solar year. The beginning of January marked the inauguration of the Roman consuls, and this is how they dated their years, so it kind of made sense to start the year in the beginning of January. But of course, for a while, a lot of private and religious celebrations still took place in March, and it's not quite sure when the official switch actually happened. But eventually, just like modern times, the 1st of January was New Year's Day, and it was dedicated to the god Janus. You see the connection with the name and the god there? You see it? You see it? January, Janus. Janus is actually the perfect god to be celebrating on this day because he's got two heads, one facing forward, one facing backwards, so he can see both the past and the future. This is some deep metaphorical stuff, you guys. The Romans also believed that how you rung in the new year was indicative of how the rest of the year was going to go. And this is actually a philosophy that I have been living by since I heard Marissa Cooper tell it to Ryan on the OC.
You know what they say. The way you spend New Year's Eve is the same way you'll spend the rest of the year.
To make sure that the coming year was a prosperous one, it was customary for the Romans to exchange, good wishes to one another, as well as exchange figs, dates, and honey as tokens of good fortune to make sure that the year was equally as sweet. Aww. Sometimes coins were also given as gifts, particularly the ones with Janus on it. Fittingly, to stay on theme, stay on brand. Games were played, drinks were had, and everyone was out having a good time, eating, drinking, and being merry. But it wasn't all fun and debauchery. According to the poet Ovid, most Romans also chose to do a bit of work on the day, going about business as usual, as idleness was seen as a bad omen. And if you're setting a precedent for the new year, you definitely want to be manifesting some girl boss energy on this day. There were also offerings to the gods of cakes made out of spelt and salt to be burned at an altar, and there were also people that practiced divination, and also others who were very superstitious about the day. We know that the Romans were a very superstitious bunch, and New Year's was no different. Apparently, if New Year's Day fell on a market day, it would be an unhappy year. If it fell on a Sunday, there was an omen of war or the death of a high-standing official, and so on and so forth. There was something probably almost for every day, and I'm just wondering now if there was any day that was good for New Year's Day to fall on, because probably not. There was always something wrong, I'm sure.